Oh, okay, guys. Welcome to Science Today. You probably noticed Naya is our intern. She's in the corner there. She's going to be watching and helping. Some of you might have remember seeing her in class. I think she did some writing and reading with you guys. But she's going to be joining us today. You might see her in some other classes too the next couple of weeks. Okay. So I think for our last science lesson before break, I kind of gave you a review of lesson 4.1 through 4.9. So 4.10 today is plant and animal cell functions. And I'll go ahead and read this. There's some questions afterwards. And then the last thing I want to do today is there's going to be a Venn diagram. So I want to go over that with you guys. So you guys, a lot of this would be review. We've probably covered some of this, but I'll go ahead and start reading. And some of this might sound familiar to you. So what do cells do? It says all living things are made of cells. All cells need food, water, and a way to eliminate waste. So that's important, you guys. All cells need food, water, and a way to eliminate waste. It says a single cell is a small structure that carries out the activities necessary for life. Different structures in the cell do different things. One part gets food or water. Another part keeps the cell clean. Still other parts are in charge of reproduction. Like the parts of a factory, all parts of the cells must work together to run smoothly. It says an organism cannot survive without cells doing their work. It says animal cells and plant cells look different, but all cells have three parts: the cell membrane, the nucleus, and the cytoplasm. The cell membrane is the outer covering of the cells. Water and food enter through the cell membrane, and waste leaves through it. Plant cells have an extra structure called the cell wall, and the cell wall adds more support to a plant cell. The nucleus is the control center of the cell. It directs all cell activity. And the cytoplasm in animal plant cells is a gel-like substance that surrounds all parts of the cells within the membrane. The cytoplasm contains the nucleus and the cell's organelles. An organelle is a cell part with a particular job. Plants have special organelles called chloroplasts. Chloroplasts use energy from the sun to combine with water and carbon dioxide to make food for the cell. Okay. So now we're on to cell transportation. The cell membrane holds matter inside, but allows water, gas, and waste to pass through it. In passive transport, matter moves in or out of the cell without using any of the cell's energy. The simplest kind of passive transport is diffusion. And diffusion spreads a substance through a gas or a liquid. You can smell dinner across the room because food molecules diffuse through the air. Diffusion also transports many gases in and out of cells. Substance diffuse from areas with more matter to areas with less matter. And if you guys remember, we did that diagram. Remember, all the dots are on the outside and there are a few dots on the inside. So then the dots would pass through the cell membrane. The same thing happens if there's more of those on the inside, they would pass to the outside. And that's like how we get rid of our waste. We take in water, things like that. It says sometimes the cell needs to move materials opposite the way diffusion would move them. In active transport, substances move from an area with less matter to areas with more matter. The cell must use energy to do this. It says large problems in the cell membrane often help move materials in and out. These proteins act as tunnels that allow only certain materials to pass. Scientists study these proteins for clues how the cell operates. Okay, and this is how cells use energy. And it says all living things need energy to survive. Plants use a process called photosynthesis to make food. The process takes place in chloroplast and uses green pigment called chlorophyll to capture energy from sunlight. During photosynthesis, chemical reactions join water and carbon dioxide. The byproducts are oxygen, which is released in the air, and glucose or sugar, which plants use for food. Okay, so you can see here in this diagram, the sun, kind of hits the leaves, and then water and carbon dioxide go into the plant, and then the plant releases oxygen and glucose. So we've talked about this. You guys know trees and plants, they release oxygen. and humans need oxygen to breathe. And when humans breathe out, we release carbon dioxide, and the plant takes that in. Okay, so it's kind of a relationship between plants and humans, how we breathe oxygen and get rid of carbon dioxide. And the sunlight for the plant is the energy. So plants and animals use organelles called mitochondria to break down sugars. Cells can use sugars as energy. Mitochondria perform cell respiration, the reverse reaction of photosynthesis. Glucose is combined with oxygen to form water and carbon dioxide. Energy is released, and mitochondria source energy will be used later. Okay. So cell division. The human body is made up of trillions of cells, but it began with just one cell. Cells can copy themselves through a process called cell division. It says new organisms begin when cells from two parents combine to form a new cell. The single cell divides into two cells, the two cells divide into four cells, and so on. As cells divide, they become different from each other. Early on, the cells organize themselves into three groups called germ layers. One layer will form the skin and the nerves. Another layer becomes the lining of the digestive tract, and a third layer produces all other body parts. Bacteria and other single-cell organisms can also copy themselves. This copying results in new individuals. When conditions favor division, a bacterial colony can double very quickly. Okay, so you guys, these are just questions from this reading, and I will go over these with you. So the first one, the smallest structure that carries out all the activities necessary for life, that would be a cell. And these are all covered in the reading. So if you want to go back and look for this, you can, but I'll go over them now. And once again, the answers are at the end. In both plants and animal cells, the blank is the control center. That's the nucleus. That's kind of like the engine of the cell. We talked about that. So the nucleus kind of, even in plant animals, the nucleus controls, is really the control center. Number 3, during the process of blank, substances are spread through a gas or liquid. That would be diffusion. 4, blank is a specialized form of diffusion, and diffusion is a type of passive transport. That would be osmosis. Let me get down to number 4. Okay. And 5, during active transport, substances move from regions of blank concentration to regions of blank concentration. So that would be low during active transport. Substances move from regions of low concentration to regions of high concentration. Okay. 6, the byproducts of photosynthesis are oxygen, which is released into the air, and a molecule called blank, which is a type of sugar, and that'd be glucose. Cells copy themselves in a process called cell division. Okay. Photosynthesis takes place in, that's chloroplasts, which use energy to form sunlight to make food in plants. 9, blank perform a process the opposite of photosynthesis to help plants use energy as food, and that would be mitochondria. Okay. 10, what do cells need to stay alive? That's the first thing we talked about. That would be food, water, and a way to eliminate waste. And that's in both plant and animals. Okay, so this one, use the terms chloroplasts and organelles that describe cell function. You could say a chloroplast is an organelle in plant cells that makes food for plants. And that's covering both of them. Okay, 12. Could a cell survive without its mitochondria if all the other organelles were present? No, because the mitochondria provides energy. So, and all cells need energy. 13, it says, what are the parts of the cell and how do cell parts work together to keep the cell alive? Well, cell membrane lets materials in and out and keeps the cell together. The nucleus directs all cell activities, and the cytoplasm surrounds the nucleus and the organelles. Okay, so remember, so the 3 parts will be the cell membrane, and that lets materials in and out and keeps the cell together. The nucleus directs all activities. That's like the engine. And the cytoplasm surrounds the nucleus and the organelles. Okay. And 14. Why is a drop of food coloring in a water a good model for the process of diffusion? Because diffusion spreads substance through a gas or liquid. So the substance, food coloring, is being spread through the liquid water. That's why when you put one drop in, eventually, if you drop it like in a bowl or a glass of water, you drop like a red dot of food coloring, pretty soon, the entire glass or bowl becomes red. And that's just an example of diffusion. And to make food, plants use a process called, and that'd be photosynthesis. And that was that diagram back up here. I'll show you. That's right here. Okay, that's kind of an example of photosynthesis. Okay. Here are the answers. If you want to go back and check yourself, if I went too fast, I apologize. You can just go through that reading and all the answers are in there. These are diagrams of an animal cell's the top one and a plant cell's the bottom. And this is just kind of a practice for you. Then I think down here, it just asks you to label. This is a plant cell and this is an animal cell. So you can kind of just use these two diagrams up here to label those, so you get a little more familiar with the different parts of the plant and animal cell. The last thing I want to show you guys, and we've done this, I've done it in social studies, and I think we did it in science. This is called a Venn diagram. Okay, so what this does is two circles that overlap, and the part in the middle right here, these are things that both the animal cell and plant cell have in common. So on the far left, you're going to have things that are unique to the plant cell. On the far right, you're going to have things that are unique to the animal cell. But some things in the middle are a combination that both plant and animal cells share. An example, they both have a cell membrane. So if we're filling this out, we know that both animal cells and plant cells have a cell membrane. They both have a nucleus, okay? They both have organelles, and they both have cytoplasm. So those are things that both the animal cell, excuse me, and plant cell have. Okay, and if we'll do animal cell, things that are unique to an animal cell. There's no cell wall in an animal cell. There's no chloroplast in an animal cell. We have many small vacuoles that store water, food, and waste. And also we have vesicles that help digest materials in the cell. That is strictly unique to an animal cell. And how you would fill this out, you would just go look at different, the animal cell and the plant cell. And you would write things, like I said, in the middle that are same. And the animal cell on the far right are things just the animal cell has. And the far left, those are things that are just unique to a plant cell. For example, plant cells have a rigid wall outside the cell membrane that provides structure and support. That's what keeps the plant upright. And that's like the rigid cell membrane. Plant cells have chloroplast. Animal cells, we don't have chloroplast. And another thing that's unique to a plant cell is they have one large central vacuole that stores water and waste. That's how you would do, if you see kind of this Venn diagram, whether it's on the social studies or the science, whenever you see a Venn diagram, that's how you fill it out. Remember, the things in the center right here are things that are common to both plant and animal. And then on the outside, for example, on the left here, anything over here are things that are just unique to the plant cell, and anything over here are things that are just unique to the animal cell. So this might come up on one portion of the test. I just want to make sure you're familiar with it. We did this, excuse me, in class a couple times. So you can go ahead and try to fill this out. And if you get stuck, just remember the answers are right here. Okay, so that's it for science for today, you guys. I'm going to start social studies about 11 o'clock. And then I think we'll do another science tomorrow or Friday, but we'll let you know tomorrow morning kind of what we're going to do Thursday. All right, you guys have a wonderful day, and hopefully I'll see some of you in social studies. So that's kind of what we do. Math is a little more interactive. Usually with math, so right now I'm doing pictographs. So
Oh man, I haven't done one of those in a long time. I don't know what a pictograph even is.
yeah, I'd use my tablet,
Mm-hmm.
share my screen, so I'm doing computations, and they see that. But for like social studies and science, I just kind of bring up the lesson that we're doing and do some reading. Writing. I think Casey might also use his tablet so we can go over some stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
for science and social, it's mostly just reading. So here, and I'll show you kind of. This is what I'm going to do for our
Social
social
studies.
studies.
So is it just a reading and questions as well?
Yeah, and it's kind of a longer one, so I'm not going to do all of it, but